Welcome to Mentor Talks. I'm Tatya, CEO and co-founder of Upnotch. Upnotch is a free mentorship platform for executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals. We bring together industry leaders and like-minded individuals to share their knowledge through one-on-one mentorships and through these talks. If you are looking to find a mentor or become a mentor, please join Upnotch by downloading from the App Store or Google Play. For more info, go to www.upnotch.io.
Hey, Paul, great for you to join me today. Find out a bit about what you're up to these days. What are you doing?
My primary responsibilities are, driving customer goals, business transformation, revenue expansion, and making sure our engagements are successful by meeting the success criteria of our clients, obviously retention, and then just the growth of Murphy in general. So that's really what I'm doing today. I'd love to hear what you've been up to since we last worked together.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. I'm account director still at Red Cloud and part-time consultant as well. So I kind of have a dual role at Red Cloud, but primarily my goal is to work with my clients to understand the business needs and goals that they're looking to achieve and match them up with the resources that we have available at Red Cloud and provide them with that expertise to help them achieve those goals and hopefully make heroes out of our clients. That's really at the end of the day what my job description should really be is how do I make my clients heroes?
Absolutely.
So glad we get a chance to chat about some things going on today and relevant to our industries. I'm curious to ask you, from what you're seeing, what has or how has COVID-19 kind of changed the hiring process in your world?
Well, there's no doubt that COVID's changed the way we're doing business, right, and how our clients are handling things. And so I think, as you've seen, we've all had to adapt. And so one of the biggest things that we're seeing is, the interview process has changed. Now it's all done on virtual platforms, on your Teams, Zooms, and therefore it's really important to understand the platform that you're going to be interviewing on and know how it works. And just really the big changes, like get people to understand, like you still got to be professional, like you would be in an on-site in-person interview. Be prepared, right? Know your tool that you're using. Be presentable. Dress like you would for an interview. Have a background that's appropriate. And really eliminating distractions. I think there's folks that have gotten so comfortable just being at home on video conferences they forget you're still interviewing and it's still you got to be professional, and then really memorable, right? Because now you don't get to have that in-person ability to kind of connect with the interviewer or the panel of folks interviewing you. So I think you've got to be memorable and really make the most of that opportunity to connect and share your value. And so I think that's been the biggest change from the hiring process, is just doing everything virtually. Um, and then the onboarding process, which, most organizations, take that opportunity to really kind of make the new employee feel welcome and part of the organization. Now it's just not the same doing it over virtually or having folks start virtually, right?
Yeah.
And so it's definitely changed a bit, and I don't know how and when it's going to go back to the on-sites, in-persons, but I think we're blessed to have the tools available to still continue doing business.
Yeah, no, I definitely am seeing exactly what you're seeing myself. That's for sure. Definitely some changes that maybe we weren't prepared for, but they're here, and we have to adapt.
Absolutely, right? It's part of the consulting lifestyle. Just
It
always
is.
changes. So with that, I would love to hear kind of your thoughts on, if you had to give candidates or individuals advice on how do you really get noticed and how do you increase your probability of getting hired during these times, right? Any advice you could share?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways, and I think everyone's situation can be a bit different. But if folks are, spending a lot more time at home and find themselves with, a few more hours in the day, I think there's a lot of things that folks could do to, improve their chances. I think, there's a lot of things that people sometimes dread, like polishing up your resume or just taking a look at maybe customizing, creating, multiple resumes. They're all jobs are not cookie cutter, therefore your resume shouldn't be cookie cutter to encompass all opportunities. So I think, taking a look at your resume and maybe creating some of those versions that maybe go out to different types of roles you want to look at. I think there's great opportunities for folks to improve their skills. I think in multiple ways, right? I think job-wise, just getting new skills that maybe you haven't practiced in a while, or maybe want to polish up on for your own job, as well as, like you were saying before, with things happening through video. I think it's a great time for folks to maybe do some interview prep and maybe practice through video, see how they look, record themselves. I think that's the worst thing. I hate listening to my own voice and looking at myself, but I think those are great ways for someone to take this opportunity, make a silver lining out of this downtime to improve those interview skills, polish up that resume, and maybe learn a few professional skills at the same time. I think those are some really great areas for folks to focus on right now.
No, that's great. I definitely hear you on hearing your own voice, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, no, that's great. Great advice.
So on your side, I guess, from the opposite side of that coin, from a client side, what's changed in terms of being able to support your clients and provide those consulting services here during today's trying times?
Another great question. Again, the pandemic's definitely disrupted our industry, impacted the way clients are leveraging consulting services, and really just hiring it. And what we've seen is that a lot of businesses are moving from business expansion to really replacing that to business continuity plans and really planning for the future, since we don't know what it truly looks like. But I think we're still fortunate being in the tech industry that we're still relevant, we're still able to work and retain good folks. Also as organizations that we're seeing, they still have plans to hire. They still want the competitive edge of having the best of the best resources. It's just they're hiring at a little bit slower pace, and really taking a look at where they need the expertise. And we're seeing it's more the niche skill sets, right? And really testing, the industry's recruiting teams of finding the best of the best, who's niched, and really trying to get the client the best bang for their budget and to deliver as much value. But on the other side is that, I truly believe our clients have never needed us more. We're having deeper conversations, more meaningful conversations. They're more, there's more emotions behind them as well. It's not just pure business. There's a lot of things that are impacting everybody. And again, really, it's the strategic skill sets is where they're seeking help. And so, things have changed. It's definitely more being understanding and empathetic and really trying to do the best for the customer. And so, but we'll get through it. We want to keep driving the value for customers' initiatives, and so we'll continue to do as we've been doing.
The business is carrying on, and it's a matter of when the timing is right for them to bring on that expertise. We're seeing the exact same thing.
Absolutely. And then one question that I've got for you, and I think it's a question that folks have always thought about, will we always go virtual? And now it's kind of like, before it was a nice to have, now that's just what it is. Do you see that changing, or do you see majority of our clients or our industry just being remote, and even for those customers that have not been to organizations that are proponents of work from home? Kind of, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've seen a few, pendulum swings in our industry over the decades, and here's another one. I think, obviously the pendulum has swung towards a very remote workforce. We've more or less been forced into this, but I think the pendulum will stay here for a little bit of time. I think that as we recover and put this behind us, there will be, I think, the pendulum swinging back, and I think there will be a pull for more of that face-to-face, real human contact again. I think that while we can see business carrying on and goals being met, regardless of workers being able to be in the same space or be virtual, I think that if anything, it'll provide efficiencies down the line. But I think the days of face-to-face with the client, rubbing elbows, not shaking hands, but continuing those days will be back eventually. I don't think it's going to be a flip of a switch, and as soon as this is behind us, we all go rushing back. I think we'll kind of phase into it, but I definitely see the pendulum, swinging back the other way. That's for sure.
I sure hope so. I miss that interaction with your employees and the clients, and so hopefully we'll see that sooner than later.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I think along those lines, outside of the virtual world and a lot more video meetings than you used to have before, any other changes, in kind of your professional day to day, that you think you'll see continue on, kind of when we get back to whatever the next normal is down the road?
Absolutely, and I'm smiling because this is a question that definitely hits home for me. With my wife and I both working full time and taking care of a young one, it's really made you think about what does it mean to multitask and time management, and it's given it a whole new meaning for sure, right? And so it definitely makes you realize and prioritizing better than maybe I have in the past. But personally, the changes that I've seen, for me in a professional setting is that, I see myself, re-energized of staying focused, with being genuine with our customers, sincere and empathetic, and really looking out on the horizon, what's happening, how is business changing, what models do we need to change, how can we adapt, and then really seeing all that, and then knowing how do we spark innovation to meet those needs of tomorrow, right? I mean, it's just so much has been disrupted, but business must go on, and just being aware, right? And I think just that key for me is really, really understanding a customer's needs, and having an empathetic perspective for them as well. We're all in a tough spot, so that's really the biggest change for me, and kind of something that I'm going to make sure that I keep that top of mind every time I engage with clients. So absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if it changes for me, but I think I've always had adaptability, but I think that's definitely something I'm going to need to continue to just make sure that I continue to have as a strength, because if folks came into this situation not ready for change or able to digest change easily, now's the time to gain that adaptability and learn that I got to be able to change directions quickly if I need to. When the time comes, and nothing like this situation said adaptability more so.
Absolutely. And we talked about kind of the changes in our industry, right? You had a successful career, and you continue to do great things in our industry. But if you had to change jobs or change just the industry you're in, what would you do, and why?
Wow, that's a great question. I love tech, so I'd probably still do something, tech related. Something, kind of the big things there right now. Artificial intelligence. I think everyone's hearing about that, and lots of things involved in AI. I'd love to be more involved in artificial intelligence. Things like virtual reality or augmented reality. I think those are really big. As more and more, and especially again, that times like now where I'm sure a lot of people would love to put on a VR headset and just escape for long periods of time. And I'd be fascinated to try and get into that industry. And if it wasn't tech, maybe I'd take my shot at maybe being a YouTube star. Maybe, I don't know. I could come up with some content to drive that. But I don't know. Those are some thoughts. Maybe some real quick thoughts. Off the top of the head.
Well, if you follow that passion of the YouTube star, let us know. I'm sure you do great things and keep it entertaining.
I will do that. Like and subscribe below. Anyway, I'm this whole discussion, and obviously mentor to mentor here. Would love to hear. Did you receive, or what's the greatest kind of bit of advice that maybe you received from a personal mentor of yours in the years past?
I've been fortunate to have some really good mentors in my life, and really allow me to get to where I'm at and be successful. And so I think the biggest one that um, the biggest piece of advice I've learned about and has been the most impactful and has resonated with me is be intentional in your leadership, right? Don't be accidental. And I think at first it didn't really make sense. You hear, you see individuals moving to a leadership role, but they really don't know how to be intentional, how like to set the expectations, how to drive your employees with that same excitement and setting them up for success, right? That leadership is something that you just it develops as you go on, and so for me, being able to provide our organization, with intentions and lead with them and helping my employees, and our clients be successful, right? That's probably the biggest thing is if you're in a leadership role, be intentional about it. Make sure you're driving for success and you're very clear and you're supporting your employees as opposed to just I'm in this role and I'm doing this because I'm supposed to say these things, right? Have genuine intention behind it. And so, but that was a great question. I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Gosh, I think one of the best pieces of advice I got, and actually kind of, again, the situation we're in now really hits at home, was I was told, don't be afraid to be professionally vulnerable and transparent. And the way it was explained to me was, don't become a robot. Don't turn off your personality. Don't, we're all humans, and we have to remember that even in business. And and I think the way it was termed, professionally vulnerable. It's not like let's bring in all of my personal life into the office, but it's about we all have jobs and we all have a life outside of work, and don't be afraid to show that vulnerability, to show that you're a human being. People will connect with you, and they know that you're going to be there for them if you're able to kind of show that in a professional manner and not be tuned out and just business all the time and just focused on the bottom line. We're businessmen for 8, 9, 12, sometimes 16 hours a day, but we're human beings 24 hours a day, and you can't just switch between the two. And I think during the pandemic that we're experiencing now, I think a lot of that is starting to surface, and I think people should not be afraid to to show that maybe they're scared or maybe they're concerned, and have those conversations. You'll feel much better afterwards, and I think you'll be your work will come out much better with one less thing kind of weighing on you. Anyway, that just kind of was one thing that I thought about, that I thought was great advice and is really relevant today.
That's great. And I think that's super powerful, right? I mean, we're the business of people. I mean, we're not some widgets. We're people driving results. And so I think that's huge. And that's a great way to look at things. And so appreciate it. And, I enjoyed our conversation today, and I look forward to many, many more. And hopefully sometime here in the near future, we get together in person.
Yeah, hopefully the next time we're able to chat like this, it will be over a nice ice cold beverage somewhere, and not in these little Zoom video boxes.
Absolutely. Hopefully there'll be some college football going on at that time too.
Oh, I hope so. Go Dogs.